Yeah, and you kind of mentioned something before, like you said how they should just admitted what they were making.
Yeah.
And the same thing with The Force Awakens. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you could, why don't you just admit you're remaking A New Hope? Maybe it would have felt a little better. We would have accepted that instead of just kind of being underhanded about your story, about the material, about your direction.
Yeah, like where's Luke Skywalker's wife? Where's Mara Jade or whatever her name was? Where's all these other things that should have been in there? You know.
And that's just opinions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I know it's all subjective, but it's just kind of more bullshit.
Yeah. I think that the big thing that hurt me watching that movie, the thing I think they dropped the ball on was not using Harrison Ford to his potential. It was almost like you said before, take the check and jump off the bridge.
Yeah, that's what that's basically what happened. He just took the check and he's like, bye, bitches, and he jumps off.
And he crashes his airplane on the golf course.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. Yeah. Like Batman vs. Superman. I had so many questions about that I wished they would have cemented in there. Because at least if they would have cemented out, I could say, okay, now I know where you want to go with the next one. Mind you, that still wouldn't have saved it for me. Because all the storylines that I wanted to see, they fucked up. And, they based that movie on Dark Knight Returns. And the first teaser they gave anyone was from Dark Knight Returns. But there was no fucking Dark Knight Returns in the movie. The only thing they kind of kept in was Batman was a little older, and him and Superman fought, and he was wearing a suit. Like, there was no, there was no, story plot. It was like they just read the last book and went, to quote Kevin Smith, he just read the last parts of the book and then that was it.
Just taking bits and pieces.
Yeah, like, they could have went so many places if they would have took their time. They just from this story alone, just from the Superman side of it, they could have done. They should have done like the Superman movie. Gave everybody their own movie or whatever. Then then give you your Justice League, or World's Finest, which would have had Batman and Superman. This movie should have been World's Finest. And then Justice League, and then maybe Death of Superman, if they can get everything in order by then. Death of Superman, Funeral for a Friend, Reign of the Superman, Return of Superman, and Hunter vs. Prey. They could have had all those movies there, and every one would have been just as big and as crazy because look at it this way: if they promised you that they were going to do that whole storyline from here over the next 10 years, you know what? My tickets for those next 10 years are bought. I'm already going to say, okay, let's go, let's do it. But they ruined that for me. Like, they stole that from me. And they replaced it with all these other things that could have been good ideas if they would have stuck to their own storylines. Like Flashpoint Paradox, you got Flash coming back in time, and plus he's going, like you guys were saying, he went into the dream, the whole dream sequence. Yeah, and not only that, but the second time I was watching it, I was going, okay, well, they made a really big mistake in the editing, or it's a subplot where they have, like the whole Martha thing. Like the whole my mother's Martha and your mother's Martha kind of thing. When they were doing that, it's reference to that. But if you look at the scene, I forgot where I was going with that, but it ties into this, so I guess I'll join back up with it. The dream sequence where Batman's having the Apocalypse Desert dream sequence?
Yeah.
Superman walks in, he saws one guy in half, he saws the other guy in half with his heat vision. He walks up to Batman and he says, "She was my world," and then he rips out his heart. And then later on, you don't know if it's a dream sequence or if Kal-El is able to talk with spirits or if he's having a hallucination, but he's talking to John Kent. And John Kent says the same thing. But yet, it was in Batman's dream. And then at the end of the movie, those two elements come together again when he goes off to be impaled by Doomsday. He kisses Lois goodbye. He says, "You are my world," and he takes off. So I'm thinking. Then you got the end of the movie where him and Batman and Wonder Woman are standing next to the grave, and then he does the old Justice League adage of, "I'm gonna have everyone's information." Pretty much saying that because he's got all the information on his computer. You know, which is kind of like the origins of Justice League, because Batman knows everybody's identities, right? So he's got files on everybody. But then that kind of taps into, because they're dealing with Darkseid, that taps into, there's a storyline, I can't remember the name of it, where the planet's getting wiped out and all the superheroes get taken down. Like, all of them get killed, and they're all older, and they're all dying. And there's this big time travel thing with it, with Darkseid and this other guy. And the other guy's like a god. And Batman, something happens and Batman takes over the mantle of the other guy, and I'm not sure if he banishes him to another dimension or through time or something. It's something like that. And Batman becomes a god. And I'm wondering if there's premonitions to that. Like, if they're kind of nodding towards going that way, like the Bat God thing.
I'm not sure. All I saw was Batman do his Mad Max impression.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's the Road Warrior or some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you
Mad
think
Bat.
about, yeah, Bat Max.
Fury Cowl.
Dome, better dome.
But it's just weird how Batman, we got, the Batman who's older, wiser. Kind of makes sense to put it across those storylines. And at the same time, like, it's weird. He has all these extra abilities, and he's doing all these extra things that Batman wouldn't necessarily do, like take a life, shoot a Gatling gun into a car, crash a car into two bad guys. I can understand him, during the gunfight, and he uses the gun on someone else, like he counteracts the move where the guy goes to shoot him and the other guy gets shot instead. I can take that, but it's just weird that we have this almost astral planet Batman, that he can receive prophecy through dreams, and yeah, almost like him and Superman are like telekinetically fused at points in that movie. So I don't know if they just fucked up in editing, or if they had different people writing it and they fucked up, or I'm not sure, but don't take my word for it, man. Like, you guys at home, go watch it again. As horrible as that sounds. Go watch it again and see for yourself it's there.
Maybe it's a lot of Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even Ramborath, said something before. It's like he tries to make Batman vs Superman into like a Watchmen sequel.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't. It just creates a very clusterfuck environment. And when he comes, I mean, it's like, I know.
Exactly.
People are gonna say, "Well, we talked about this. We talked." I don't give a shit, and I'll ran on some more. But
yeah, like, this is definitely better than the movie was. Our rant. I listened to like 6 hours of our of the whole week we did today. That whole week, that 6 days of ranting, and there was not one dull moment so far. There's not one dull moment, so we're definitely they should be paying us to to watch this instead.
Yeah, and I saw the movie twice, and only because the first time was free, and the second time was with my dad, and it's 5 hours of my life, I'm not getting back.
Yeah.
I'm burned out. I'm very burned out by the DCU. I'm burned out because it's like, to be honest, they just have no patience.
Yeah.
They're too late in this damn game. And again, I know people are going to say, oh, you're bashing DC, it's a DC bash piece. Then why are they rushing shit?
Yeah, well, I don't understand why DC can't just hire 10 different directors, give them all a different movie, and say, go. And in 2-3 years, we'll be caught up with Marvel. Or ahead of Marvel. Who knows? You hire enough directors, it's not like they don't have the money. They can,
exactly.
They can do it, you know. It's sad.
It's common sense.
Yeah. And like I can kind of see like you guys are saying with the, like Matt was saying with the Watchmen. I noticed that a lot. There's certain scenes like with the boat. You know when he's carrying the boat.
I was waiting for Rorschach to pop out somewhere.
That would have been better. Rorschach, awesome.
Or Dr. Manhattan.
Go it! But like I can definitely see Zack Snyder trying to go for that whole Bat God thing. The way he's playing around with it, it's almost like, you know, when he did Sucker Punch. You know, all of that is about astral projection, and I can see him doing something like that with the next one. I hope they don't, because then they're jumping the shark again. They're like, you know, that's another 20 years of things that aren't going to be explained if they do that right off the bat.
I don't think it's ever going to be explained.
Me either.
I just think it's going to be a lot of very horrendous writing, horrendous directing. Yeah. But I know that's just, you know,
it's like they think the audience is stupid, yet they don't cement anything down. So it's a catch-22 in a way. It's kind of like we're fucked because they don't say for sure, and we're fucked because we don't know what we're supposed to be looking for in the movie, and then it all comes across as all jumbled. And you know, I don't disagree with anyone who says they didn't like that movie because it wasn't true, because that movie was not true to anything. That was just a Zack Snyder DCU puff piece. Like that was his own thing. And I know we've been there time and time again. You know, you look at like Michael Keaton's Batman. Great movie, but it wasn't Batman. It wasn't Bob Kane Batman, but it was great. It was a great movie. And now we've come to this era where we're finally, all those kids who saw that movie have finally grown up and are able to make movies of their own. And now they're going to say, okay, well, we're not going to stay true. We're going to go back to that old formula. You can't capture that lightning twice, you know. You can't. It worked because it was 1988, right? Or 88 or 89?
89.
89. It worked because it was back then. But nowadays, we expect them to stay true to the original formula, because that's the wonder. And we've grown up with the characters, and we've invested so much money into reading in these characters, and you know, they should make them more like the animated movies. Honestly, the animated movies are great.
And honestly, too, I mean, I keep saying that they're late in the game on this. I think they're 25 years late.
Yeah.
Because this shit should have happened when you had Michael Keaton, you had Christopher Reeve. But I know that people are saying, oh, you just want to compare, and oh, you want to bring up the past, you want to bring up history.